My name is Roosevelt. I always thought that cigarette smoking just messed up your lungs. I never thought that at only 45 would give me a heart attack. I never thought that it would stop me from playing basketball with my kids. And I never thought that it would change my life forever. My tip is, do your heart a favor and quit now.
Heart attack risk drops as soon as you quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Blog Talk Radio.
What's up, people? This is Sue, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Ms. Baba. And today, we have another guest with us, my man, Mikael. What's going on, y'all?
What's up, family?
Everything good?
Yeah, I want
to. Good, ready?
Yeah, I want to say.
Discuss a few things.
No doubt. I want to say big shout outs to all my brothers at the Collie. What's good? And of course, you listen to Always a Black Radio. Black is an acronym for Building Lives Through Awareness and Conscious Knowledge. And we're going to have a lot of deep stories for y'all. Tonight's show is going to be kind of serious, but before we get into the serious topics, because we definitely going to touch on them, some things y'all need to know, we're going to get into a little fuckery first, though, just to keep it 100.
Right.
Yeah, so let's start off with the fuckery first. Man, did y'all hear that Meek Mill's comeback song at Drake yesterday?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. No, go ahead.
I wish I could have got about my 4 minutes and 2 seconds back. That's about the only thing I remember is how long it was.
Right, right.
4 minutes and 2 seconds of you know what, though? When you're dealing with it, you had a guy who comes out. First off, he started all this. He started it.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's bad. It's like, you know, you in school and they in the lunchroom and they getting it in, and the person who starts it goes outside and get their ass whooped.
True.
You know, they don't let that down. They got to hear that the rest of the school year. Remember, you was talking all that. You got your ass whooped out.
And my thing is that, too. Like, Meek Mill, because, you know, I'm an avid battle fan, and I know you are, too. Man, he making our battle community look bad, man, because everybody's saying, oh, Meek used to be a battle rapper, yo. And, you know, he making our community look kind of bad there, man. I'm not appreciating that.
I can agree there.
Word. And let me just put my 2 cents in real quick and say that Meek Mill is straight up disrespectful. Like, he doesn't even respect the game of hip-hop. Like, hip-hop as an art, like, he just straight, just shitted on the whole game of hip-hop for real, for real. Because that shit that he put out was, number one, it was a minute and a day too late, first and foremost. I don't even know why he took that moment, even come back with the comeback. Drake dropped 2 in response, waiting for him. You know what I mean? And then he come out with some whack-ass shit. I don't even understand. Like, what? He shouldn't have said nothing, honestly.
And he started it.
Exactly.
That's what's bad about it. He started it.
Exactly, but that's how it usually is. Like, the bullies, they the ones that make the most noise, but they always end up getting beat up. So I'm glad that she even made that that little
comparison.
You know, you even mentioned that, because that's really exactly how it is. Like, how you gonna start something and then just be ass? Like, just shut up.
I mean, I don't even mind me taking that long to respond. The thing is, I'm like, take as much time you need, just as long as it's fire. That's all I care about.
Right. Make sure it's hot.
Right. That's the part I'm disappointed in, because there's no rule to say you got to respond in a few days. I think people was going overboard with that. People was like, oh, it's been like 2-3 days. You don't make a response yet. I'm like, yo, chill out. So he was taking his time. I thought, okay, he's cooking something up. And then, you know, when I first listened to this track, it had the Undertaker. Started off with the Undertaker, like, music and stuff. I was like, okay, this means he's going to bury Drake. All right, I'm feeling it. And then when it starts off, he started mumbling. I could barely understand the first verse. I was like, what? Like, what is you saying? And the whole
it seemed like
song.
He was more,
yeah, go ahead, bro.
It seemed like he was more concerned with his flow than what he was saying.
Right.
I mean, you know, it seemed like he was more concerned with sounding cool on the song than actually attacking the dude.
Right.
I mean, I think some of the resentment or the time frame he brought on himself because he did the pump faking. He the one with Flex, you know, pumping it up, and then the Toronto thing. So he kind of brought some of that back on himself.
Right, because I know everybody thought he was going diss him in Toronto because that tour stopped in Toronto. You was expecting at least a jab or something, you know, like, I don't know, Meek. He had one quotable in the whole song that Lyle said Diddy almost got domestic charge for smacking that bitch. That was all right. Why?
But come on now. Like,
other
that was
than
the
that,
only
nothing.
thing that he had. Exactly.
Right.
All I got to say about this shit is the new hashtag should be Drake the type of nigga that'll body Meek.
Yo,
he straight bodied that dude. I'm sorry, but he did. Like, that was just horrible. Like, I honestly feel sorry for Meek right now.
Hey, let's
honestly,
not go.
if you're gonna start something, then you got to get ready. If you stay ready, then you don't got to get ready. You know what I mean? If you're gonna start something, you better make sure you got that ammo. Like, you can't take your time, and that's why I'm like, okay, he took way too long to even come back and say anything, and then he delivered nothing at the end of the day.
And then that's another thing. What other rapper in the game got as much ammo than Drake?
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. That should have been an easy kill.
That's an easy one.
But let me ask both of y'all a question. Let's say Meek hear all this criticism and he like, okay, yeah, I messed up, and come back with a hot song. Would you care? Or you think it's too late?
Nah, I think he still got time to redeem himself. You know, because the battle could last as long as they continue to go hard and people continue to pay attention to it. But as it stands right now, he definitely lost a lot of credibility. I mean, like, the only option for him to do right now is just bow down and just say he's out, honestly. Like, who he going to get to write his lines? Maybe he's accusing Drake of having a ghostwriter. Maybe his ass need one. Shit.
I like
Meek, though. I saw that story with the chick. What is this chick? I don't know who she is, though. I didn't really get into no background of it. Is she putting out tweets that the Quentin Miller dude was supposed to be offering the ghost right for him, and well, no, he asked him to ghost right for him. Excuse me, and then supposedly Quentin turned it down. This is something I saw a tweet out there. I don't know what validity to that was, but I know I saw it. And the thing is, he got an open book sitting in front of him that he can attack. It's so much stuff from this man's history that you can attack. The man just got smacked up last year by Diddy. Come on now. Come on, man. This is an open book, and you on there again. Come on, man.
And this make it worse too. Common body Drake with like 116. Well, you know when
word. Oh my God, I forgot about that. But you right. He said
it wasn't even a long verse. It was one verse. Like, you ain't wetting nobody. You Canadian dry. Slick line.
Yeah.
Killed him right there.
That's right. That's right.
And my thing is this too. Let's not go overboard because I liked Back to Back. Back to Back was a good little song, but I think Drake getting too much credit because it wasn't like it was that hard of a song. It was cool. It was a nice track. And Charged Up was very light. Very, very light.
I think that's what pisses everybody off more, though, because the back-to-back was beatable.
Right.
It was beatable. It was there for you. It was there. You could have nailed that one. You could have took that one out, but you come back and, you played a little reference track about, I got another question for y'all, though, when I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Are we in an age where if we find out somebody ghost wrote for somebody, it don't matter that much? Because I know Drake would be getting killed right now if this was like 95.
Right. I think yes. I think yes because I've seen people yesterday like just reaching trying to defend ghostwriting. And I heard multiple people say that as long as the song is hot. And I agree that to a certain extent. My thing is this. At least let us know you have a ghostwriter. Well, I don't don't claim you an MC and have a ghostwriter. Like, Drake makes some, not Drake, excuse me, Dr. Dre makes some good music. We all know he don't write his own rhymes. So,
right.
like, whatever, you can vibe out to the song, but Dr. Dre never claimed to be the hottest MC in the game. He might say he's the hottest producer, but not the hottest MC. You can kind of respect that. But you find out somebody like, say, I don't know if y'all remember, a few years ago, Nas got accused of having ghostwriters with the Untitled / Nigger album, right? And
right. I remember when it was something with the Dead Prez supposed to have wrote some of it.
Prez and Jay Electronica and Jay Electronica.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, if that turned out to be true, that would actually hurt my heart right there. You know, because,
I was just about to say that because we all look at Nas as, well, at least I do. I look at him as one of the greatest ever. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I do too.
To find out for him, yeah, that would definitely be heartbreaking. But I mean, like rap has changed so much, like so tremendously. Like it's honestly like this whole thing's at like a whole 180 for me now. Like it's just a whole bunch of different standards, a whole bunch of different rappers. Most of them don't even rap about nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so we're in a whole new day and age. So, yeah, like if you find out that somebody's a ghostwriter or has a ghostwriter now, I don't think it's as detrimental because the fans these days, it doesn't even matter because if you think about it, a lot of the songs that's popping right now are things that have to do with a word or a phrase that's being repeated over and over and over again, and then you put a little dance to it and boom, it's a hit and everybody's on it. You know what I mean? But the actual, there's no real, like, substance to it, like, you know, what we're used to. You know what I mean? Like the Nas and the Jay-Z and the Biggie and, you know, all that. Like, nobody really has, I can't say nobody. There's still people holding it down, but for the younger generations, they don't care about none of that stuff.
Yeah.
And if it's contextualized properly, then if it's a situation where you find out he only helped them with some hooks, because that's what I was kind of getting the feeling of. He helped them with some hooks. I felt a little certain way because I felt like Drake had a little specialty in writing those hooks. But if I found out he was getting some help with the hooks, but he was doing the verses, that wouldn't bother me as much. But, you know, to have, you know, you getting whole song ideas, whole flows, whole, you know, that would bother me a little bit. But it don't seem to bother. It don't seem to bother people that much.
And I agree. And even in the 90s, though, a lot of that stuff was happening we didn't know about. You know, a lot of people didn't have ghostwriters, and we just didn't know. And, like, in the industry, too, sometimes they take somebody's whole song. You know, they'll take the whole song and maybe just rearrange it a little bit. Like, remember that Kanye West and Ludacris song, that Stand Up joint, like last decade that came out? Like, remember, they got sued by a group because they took that song for somebody without their permission. And they ended up having to pay that group a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of that type of stuff goes on. I remember Lupe, hopefully I get the facts right. If I don't have these facts right, I'll come back next week and say I messed up. But I believe I read an interview with Lupe talking about how that song, I think, was it B.O.B. song? I don't know. It was some hit song that was supposed to be his that the label took from him. And it turned out being a hit. You know, so stuff like that happens all the time. And I think it's a difference than for somebody ghostwriting and just getting, like, you know, a little bit of coaching, direction, because coaching direction is almost like being produced and not actually ghostwriting. So I guess it just depends on how it's done.
Or even if the person is getting peer review from their, you know, peer review, the music is getting peer reviewed, and, you know, he's playing certain things and somebody says maybe you want to say this like that. I don't have a problem with any of that. But, you know, taking whole songs, that's, you know.
And I got another question for y'all, too, while we're on this subject. Do you think now, it's similar to the question Mikael just asked, do you think it's going to just get downright accepted, like nobody even going to question no more? Because I asked that because when hip-hop first started, you couldn't bite nobody, Like, if you bit somebody, people wouldn't take you seriously. Or if you bite somebody, some of those dudes might actually smack you up back then, you know? But now people bite all the time, and nobody thinks twice about it. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, he just took that little line. Sometimes people bite without even referencing where they got it from. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I like Jay-Z. Jay-Z is one of my favorite MCs, but, you know, he made a career doing that. and not just
right.
him, a whole bunch of other people too. And now it's not looked down upon anymore. So, do you think that ghostwriting is going to just kind of be like that? Nobody even going to think twice about it, like in another decade or so?
Yeah, let me come on now. Like I said, like we live in a whole new generation. Like this is a whole new world right now. Like my nigga, like most of the rappers are wearing dresses and earrings now, like dangle earrings. Like come on, let's be serious. Okay, so you really I could only take this shit so serious at this point. Like that's why honestly, I still bump music from the 90s as if it came out yesterday, because a lot of this new stuff I cannot relate to. You know what I mean? And whatever mentality, I mean, it's a whole new culture. You know what I mean? It's changed so much. So I mean, I think it's to the point where it doesn't even matter. None of that even matters anymore. Like I said, if it has a nice beat to it, that's all people care about. And then if you're able to learn the little dance that comes with it, like the whip and the nae-nae that everyone is doing, you know what I mean? Like that's what really concerns everyone at this point. But when it comes to like the actual lyrics and the principle of what hip hop and rap was founded on, and let me just shout out to Bronx because that's where all originated from. But aside from that,
you gotta throw that in there. Throw that in there.
Yeah, BX stands up. But yeah, it's just so different. So you really can't I can't even say anything more than that. Like there's nothing more to say really.
I mean, it feels like the paradigm shift with the way the music went. You know, like in the 80s, man, you be called a sucker MC or something if you stole somebody's stuff. You'd be sucker MC, and you know that was the end of it. If they try to, you stole my rhymes. That was it. If you got found, that was a key point in being a artist that could be successful. It was the requirement. We had the standards. We said, okay, if you want to, you got to be dope, you got to be fresh, you got to be creative. But you got to have your own stuff, I mean, nowadays, even, with the music, like I was just playing, I got like these 80s hip hop greatest hits and everything. And then, the storylines, the in-depth structure of the songs, how, they tell you everything from how they woke up this morning to how they hustling, how they getting it. And now I feel like, I don't know when it changed, but from what I remember it coming around the time when Wayne was starting to pop, when it just became like the random rap. One bar he's rapping about going to the store, the next bar he's sleeping with 3 women, and then the next bar, and it had no cohesiveness. And so I feel like that is what changed with the standards. So now we don't require that from anybody that's coming out. We don't require those things. It's just those music is random, so the artist can be random. And we'll accept a whole lot of random stuff.
Right. I think that's where it hit the point of no return. But I think it actually started like mid-90s, where you had like fake gangsters trying to do gangster rap, or the so-called bling era, where everybody just started getting commercial, or even with Diddy with No Way Out, which I actually like the No Way Out album, but, after that, everybody tried to go commercial. Example, like Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt was a classic album. But after Diddy came out in 97, Volume 1 had that bad boy commercial feel because people thought that was going pop, So I think it's coming back. Like Kendrick album was a good concept. I like Kendrick album. J. Cole, even though he did a lot of singing, he gave you his heart in that joint. Lupe had a dope album this year that slept on. Joey Badass had that 90s feel with his album. Like, I listened to Joey Badass album, and man, I thought it was like in 94 or something. You know what I'm saying? So
if only.
So like I got hope, man. It's still a lot of dope underground MCs too. If my man Immortal Technique ever dropped the Middle Patches album, that's something we got to look forward to. Tech Nine still doing his thing. I mean, and believe it or not, there's some battle rappers that make some dope music too if they ever get the shot as well. So I got some hope. I think it's always going to be a market for real hip hop. You know what I mean? Because a lot of those real hip hop acts, they still making money doing tours. You know, it might not be a huge tour, but they still get their little guap going to doing little shows here and there.
When you're talking about Kendrick and Cole, them, they still moving units. So it shows that there's somebody out there still, and maybe because they're tapping into that that remnant of the '90s fan who still knew to go to the store and purchase, and that's why they're collecting platinum plaques and everything. Whereas the newer generation, they're basically dealing with artists who they can pretty much get their whole catalog on YouTube, make a playlist, and then they're set. And then they're basically about selling singles and touring, pretty much when you're dealing with them.
It's about connecting. Like what Cole and Kendrick did is they connected to their fan base, so their fan base will actually buy their album, even though you can listen to it on YouTube. I bought J. Cole album, even though I could listen to it right off of YouTube or just download it. But I want to support the brother, and that's the problem with these new artists don't know, because they make these trendy singles, but nobody actually going out there and buying it. You don't have a core fan base.
Right.
So, speaking of Cole,
youngsters don't seem to buy like we used to. Go ahead, bro.
Right. And speaking of Cole, I just want to ask y'all, did y'all hear that Janet Jackson, J. Cole joint?
Yeah, I heard it.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I like that joint, too, because, eventually we're going to start getting to more R&B a little bit, too, when we get our stations and all that, But that was a nice, smooth joint. I like the fact Janet came back. It felt like classic.
Ain't she independent?
Is she independent now?
Ain't she independent? Sure. I think she went totally independent. Like she launched her own label, I believe.
If she did, that's a good look. That's a real good look if she did that. But
I don't know why everybody should do that. I don't know why they would even consider.
That's a good point, because I know Janelle Monáe, she actually went independent. And I thought that was a good look. So she has about 4 or 5 different acts underneath her now also. So that's a real good look. So shout out to Janelle Monáe on her transition into the independent industry.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite artists too. She definitely put it in. But all right, so we got the hip hop talk out the way. Now
we didn't. I just got to say one last thing.
Okay.
I just got to.
Yeah, because we don't want to hear nothing about that.
Okay. Yeah, I have to go back in on Meek Mill real quick, because I'm like, my nigga, Drake is the same dude that was in a wheelchair. His name was Jimmy from Degrassi. He didn't even mention none of that stuff.
He had a this dude is an open book. How did you not kill it?
Man.
Come on now. He's fighting, or he's battling they friends, they best friends, and he really don't want to hurt his feelings. That's how he came out. I feel like I have to do this because, of the pressure, but I don't want to say nothing too crazy to hurt your feelings. My nigga, y'all are not friends. Come on.
What about this, though? You got to remember, his girl and Drake is label mates. Maybe he ain't want to go too hard. I'm trying to come up with something here.
Well, that didn't stop him from going in.
That's true. That's true.
That ain't stopped him at all. He wasn't shy at all.
And just a side note, man. Safari, please don't make no more records, man. I don't want to hear.
Please, yes.
That shit.
Can we get a sound or something? Man.
And you know what?
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Was Meek diss worse than Safari's?
No. Safari diss.
I'm hearing people throw that out.
Terrible. That was one of the worst diss I've heard in my life, man.
That was down there with the MC Hammer diss. That was down there with the MC Hammer. Y'all remember the MC Hammer dissing Jay-Z? Y'all remember that?
Yeah, that video is hilarious. You remember they had a fake Jay-Z in that video? He was kind of fat or whatever.
He was in the woods.
That's so disrespectful.
Yo, the picture, it would go back from the fake Jay-Z in the woods. Then it just show Hammer popping or something or dancing. I'm like, okay. Y'all know what we talk about. Look that up, man. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Go on YouTube, type in MC Hammer, Jay-Z this, and you'll be laughing with us. You know, so
right.
For real, look that up, man. That shit is hilarious.
Oh, man.
I forgot about that. I haven't thought about that in years.
Y'all are so disrespectful.
Yeah, we need to put a top 10 worst diss of all time, you know, because there's been some bad
that one in there. You remember when Bow Wow and Lil Romeo was going at it? Throw that in there.
Was it Bow Wow and Romeo? I thought it was Bow Wow and Soulja Boy. He went in there with Romeo?
No, yeah, you don't remember Lil Romeo and Bow Wow had the little diss record towards each other when they were kids?
I think I blocked it out of my mind, man. I probably wanted to forget that. Nah, I don't remember that.
That beef was so bad, it didn't even make the beef DVD. They ain't even make the beef DVD.
I'm glad I don't remember that, too. I'm definitely glad, yo. Damn. How about Romeo? Wow. I remember Bow Wow.
That's down there with the, that's down there with the, what was it, Another Bad Creation and Chris Crosby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was bad, too.
Down there with that one.
That was bad, too. Like, beefs like that, nobody really win the battle. Nobody win those battles. It's a lose-lose with that. It's a lose-lose. But, yeah. Anything else? Any last comments on our little hip-hop fuckery session?
Oh, no, I'm done.
Yeah, Meek Mill just, I think the next move should be wait till the next album to drop the disc. Just wait it out. Don't do nothing now because you didn't kind of put a bad taste in everybody. Now anything right under absolute greatness is gonna get you killed.
Yeah,
leave it alone.
He don't want to do like the Jay-Z, even though he didn't get ether because Drake disc wasn't that good, but like he ethering himself. But I advise me, don't do what Jay-Z did. Remember Jay-Z kept dropping these discs after ether and none of them was hitting? And just seeing desperate, like even the Blueprint 2, where he was like, hey, that shit was cringeworthy.
Right, he had the Don't You Know track, the Don't You Know, he had the Don't You Know.
Like Don't You Know, that was fire, though.
Yeah.
That one was fire, though, the Don't You Know, but still. I feel you. All right. Unfortunately, we were just having fun, you know, loosen up. Now we about to depress everybody. We got to talk about it because, you know, that's what we do. We have fun, but we got to address serious issues and come up with solutions. To solve these problems as well. So my co-host, Miss Baba, are going to get into this situation in Cincinnati. Miss Baba, you want to inform the people? I'm sure they know, but, like, you know, give our opinions on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, yeah, as you stated, I'm sure that everyone is well aware of the situation in Cincinnati with Sam DuBose, but I'm still going to give a little backdrop so before we get into any type of discussion. So this is the whole situation as it stands right now. So 25-year-old Ray Tensing, he actually worked for the University of Cincinnati Police as an officer for them, and he pulled over 43-year-old Sam DuBose, an unarmed black man, for supposedly not having a front license plate on July 19th in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, the video is circulating, so if you haven't seen the video, at least go watch it. I will at least warn you and let you know that it is very hard to watch. What happened is, you know, they're going back and forth a little bit in regards to the officer asked him for his license a few times, and he didn't have it, or he didn't. I don't know what the situation was, but in any event, the license, his driver's license was never produced to the officer. The officer went in, Tensing went in and tried to open his car door, and DuBose was like, "What are you doing?" and closed it back and started his car up. At that point, like, everything went completely left. Tensing then went ahead and just shot DuBose, like, point blank in the head. And he is now dead. DuBose is now dead, unfortunately. So it's another situation where it's an unarmed black man who is now, you know, with the deceased at the hands of a white officer. So it's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. His first initial statement, the officer's first initial statement was that he was being dragged by the car. And then he came out and said that he almost got ran over, as if he was somehow connected to the car and he wasn't able to get away from it. I don't know. But that was all debunked because, thank God, and, fortunately enough, he was wearing a body camera. So as they replayed the body camera image or the body camera video, you can see that everything that he said was completely a lie. 2 officers actually came on the scene and corroborated his story, and they're not being charged with anything, but they were put on paid administration leave. Tensing, believe it or not, was fired immediately, and then he's also being charged with murder and voluntary manslaughter. And they posted his bond for, it was Judge Megan Shanahan who posted the bond for $1 million. And can you believe, of course, he posted bond, so he's out again, and now he has his next court date for August, I believe it's the 19th. But that's pretty much the case. One thing that I will mention, we'll get into discussions about this whole situation in a second. Yeah, his court date is the 19th. We'll get into the whole discussion about that in a second. But I just heard a really disgusting statistic or stat, really. 95% of prosecutors are white.
Uh-huh.
And in this case, the prosecutor actually came out. His name is Joe Dieters. He actually came out and announced the charges, and then went back and said that the killing was senseless. And he said, and I quote, "It was the most asinine act he has ever seen." But what were y'all feelings about this when you first saw this? I'll pose it to Meek first.
My first initial feelings were, of course, you feel a little bit of disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
You feel a little disappointment, not in the justice system or anything of that nature. You get disappointed that this continues to go on, but not shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
As I understand that right now we are under attack, flat out. We are under attack. The initial officers who came out should be charged.
Right.
They that should be some form of what is it when you're with a criminal and you help that criminal?
Accessory.
Accessory. It should be some form of accessory to a murder. They should be charged with that because they deliberately lied to protect their colleague. But this is the boys and blues code of conduct. They're going to do that. They're going to protect each other. Part of me is expecting this police officer to get off because part of me feels like they want to initiate some form of rebellion in the communities over there. For you to come out beforehand, before anybody even sees the video, you're not even giving us a chance to make our own judgment and assessment of the video itself and how we're going to feel. You're going to tell us how we're going to feel, and you're going to come out and you're going to say, we feel riots. We feel riots. So now you're already setting us up before we can even see the video to rile our emotions up a certain way so that we will react violently. And
right.
This has seemed to be the buttons that they've been wanting to push all over the country. They just continue to want to see if they can get us to do those civil disobedient things, partially maybe to get Homeland Security back here. I mean, I do believe that some independent review boards need to be set up so that they're not investigating themselves. And that's about it right now. I'm not shocked. I'm disappointed, and I'm hurt that another brother got to lose his life like that. And
right.
And lastly, just understanding why he would immediately be as scared as he was to slam the door like he did. And just to hope. I haven't looked at any other news outlets. I'm pretty sure somebody's online trying to act as if maybe if he wouldn't have with a knee-jerk reaction in that manner, maybe it wouldn't have happened that way. But I just want to put it out there that it's very understandable why he would be in fear of himself like that, and maybe off the way he did, considering the climate that we're dealing with in this country. So that's what I feel about it.
And Mikael, I made a similar point last week when we were talking about Sandra Bland, about profiling, because some people might say, well, why did she get an attitude with the officer? Why was she annoyed? And what I was explaining is when you get stopped and you're getting profiled, it puts you in a bad mood right away, because you're like, okay, I know I wasn't doing anything wrong. Why am I getting pulled over in the first place? So it puts you kind of on the defense just to begin with. And I was telling the story about how I've been pulled over multiple times, and I knew it was just for profiling because I was doing absolutely nothing wrong, especially when I venture out to the suburbs outside of the city, and you know what that's about. So that's one thing. Second thing is, Miss Baba, how many shows we have done like this? It seemed like we on repeat
almost
and
every
repeat.
one.
Right. We have to mention this almost every show. And it's getting tiresome. It's like hurting my soul to keep having to talk about this stuff, because at some point, we're going to have to stop, just keep talking about it, come up with solutions. Like, I know some people are working on that right now, but more of us have to get invested in doing something about this. Like, we have to start putting up committees and review boards on police policy. And one of the shows we did, we was talking about the justice system as a whole, because people just talk about, the prison reform, and that's important too. But as you mentioned with prosecutors, as you said, 95% of them white. Judges have a lot of power to sentence, give them, overcharge people. And they have the power, too, in these situations, like when the cop murder an innocent person, whether to charge them with a crime, the prosecutors and stuff, how hard they really going to go. So all these positions is important. And it's stuff like this we don't think about. Like local elections where judges is up for elections, we got to start getting involved in because they affect our lives. We got to start getting involved in seeing who are these prosecutors. And, of course, we got to get more of our brothers and sisters in the system. And when I say in the system, we don't want them to get in the system and basically change and basically just be part of the problem. If you, I know people think you can't change the system from inside because, really it's not a lot of documented cases of that happening. So I think what we have to do is basically attack all sides, We got to keep the pressure on them from the outside. And if some of these brothers do get in these positions, they got to be headstrong and basically do what they need to do and basically go with their conscience. It's just so many things we got to do. And rest in peace to this brother. Rest in peace, man.
Right. I do have a question that I wanted to, rest in peace to Sam DuBose and, our condolences to his family and all that. It's never an easy thing to go through, especially if you know that your family member, your loved one, that means, they mean so much to them, but their life was taken within a blink of an eye, and it's really sad and unfortunate. I did want to pose a question to you because there's a lot of people that I've seen, with the video circulating on social media and everything. I always go through the comments. I get my little bag of popcorn, like Michael Jackson in the meme, and go through the comments and things just to see where people's head is at. And I see a lot of people saying that, these situations aren't necessarily a white and black thing. And you'll be surprised. I see a lot of people that, both white and black that feel that this way, that this situation isn't a black and white thing. it's more of a us versus them, as in regards to like citizens versus the criminal justice system, or citizens versus law enforcement. Do you guys believe that it's about race itself, or is it just, you know, a power trip amongst the citizens versus the law enforcement?
You want to handle this one, Meek, or you want me to take this one first?
I'll give a brief comment on it. I think it's absolutely insane and asinine to believe that this is not a race issue. I do also understand one of the key tenets in white supremacy is to cause deflection. So I can see clearly that in time you are going to see police officers publicly on camera do some things to some white women, do some things to some gay people, to neutralize these feelings that this is an outright attack on black people in this country. But I just saw something. I saw a statistic that for this calendar year, we've only went 9 days when someone black has not been shot by a police officer. And most of them, routine traffic stops. So that means at any moment, just driving down the street, if you can have a suspended license, you can have a license, you can have insurance, a tail light, anything, or what brother mentioned earlier, just being profiled, because that is real. We are profiled in this country. But a routine traffic stop can mean a death sentence for a black person. And the thing that I like to connect when I speak on it is for us to not become so brand new psychologically on this. We've always been getting killed. This is not a new phenomenon. They're faking the funk when they're getting on these posts and as if this is some new phenomenon. No, we've always been getting killed by the police. It's just that in the 90s, the tactic was to make it a hilarious, humorous situation. So you saw a lot of movies come out that will lighten the feeling on us being killed routinely by police officers, especially in Los Angeles. But out of all those movies that was coming out, you know, Don't Be a Menace While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, they made light of that situation. But the truth of the matter is this has routinely been happening to us. What happened to that brother, he's in a long line of people like Emmett Till and others, you know? And so I get upset with it, because to hear people act as if, it's not a big deal, you're literally playing with my intelligence at this particular moment. You're literally calling me stupid, and you're literally saying I'm not supposed to see exactly what's sitting in front of me. A long history from the first slave who was brought off the boat and beaten and hung to the slave that was tied between two horses, and they whipped the horses and they split the person apart, to the 100 years of lynching, to the gym. All of these is just a continuum of things that happens to us as black people in this country, and this is not a new phenomenon. What happens is, to deflect and to neutralize the feeling, they come in and make it seem as if don't get your panties all in a bunch. It's not such a big deal, and that's the tactic they've always been doing. I mean, you turn on Fox News, that's just their thing. It's not a big deal.
Right. And to that I say, just stay focused. That's what I say. That's my answer. Stay focused. Because like you said, they do use diversion tactics. They will either bring up black on black crime. That's their favorite go-to one. Whenever we talk about that stuff. Okay, black on black crime. Yep. Or they say, well, it's not a race thing, it's a class thing. Like, class is more devastating than racism. That's what they say. And don't get me wrong, and this is what gets on my nerves. As I stated last week, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but for those of you who didn't listen, like I stated last week that class is that's all important. Class is important. you know, and all these other issues is important, but let's stay focused on us. That's why we named this Always for Black. Like, all different sorts of ideas and ways you could be for black people to solve these problems, because we're too scared to say that we got unique problems that just affect us. And, yes, classism is important, but let's be honest. It's not the same rate, because if you're a poor white person, you're not going to get arrested at the same rate as a poor black person if you're a poor white person. You know, it's
right.
Documented statistics show that white people do just as many drugs, if not more, than black people. This is documented. But they don't get arrested or sentenced at the same rate as we do. That's important. That has nothing to do with class. That's strictly race. And if you deny
and let me just interject real quick, because I'm glad that you even said that, and I don't want to lose my point, so sorry for interrupting. But I did read, I got some research. You know, I always do my research and try to find the stats and the statistics and things like that to kind of back up my claims, because a lot of people, you know, you can always say these things, and we know it, but until like a stat or a poll is done, people don't seem to really pay attention to it. So if you guys really want to know and you're doubting or have any questions as to whether it's about race, let me just tell you this, that unarmed black people are killed at 3 times the rate of any other ethnicity, whether it's white or any other minority. So that's why it's so important to say, you know, it's a black issue. Like a lot of people, like you said, a lot of times people are so scared to say, oh, it's a black thing, and they try to say, oh, you know, group us as minorities altogether, or just say it's, you know, the population versus, or, you know, say it's class or whatever. But unarmed black people are killed at 3 times the rate of any other ethnicity, whether it's white or any other minority. And the sad thing is that blacks only make up 13% of the U.S. population. So you know that there's something wrong there. And that's not nothing to argue with. That's facts. That's not my opinion on how often this happens. This is not my opinion on my feelings or, you know, anything like that. That's hard numbers to tell you that this is a real problem for black people.
And and like I was saying, like, you can go across the board with issues, not when it just comes to crime, like when it comes to getting credit loans. Like, black people specifically are not getting credit loans at the rate of white people or other ethnicities, period. That's a race issue. That has nothing to do about class, because a poor white person can apply for a loan, same as maybe even a middle-class black person, and that white person is still more likely to get the loan. It's proven, too, that if you go by statistics, and we're not making this up, check these out, do your own research. A white person with a high school diploma basically got the same chance of getting a job as a black person with a college degree. These are facts right here. These are facts. These not made-up statistics or nothing like that. Look it up if you don't believe it. So when you say it's just about class, no. It's about race, too. And we're not trying to replace white supremacy with black supremacy or nothing like that, but, let's call it a spade a spade. We have been getting discriminated against for hundreds of years. As simple as that. And we got specific issues that was never addressed. Never addressed.
Exactly.
I mean, so, like,
and I think
that's going around that.
Right, and that's the thing that we got to always remember to connect that. Always remember to connect that this is a continual pattern. This is what's been happening to us. This is the system in which they've developed that we are currently living in. The inadequate schooling that we have to deal with. The, as you said, not being able to get the loan, being redlined, and the racism in the real estate market. So we can't even own and control our own communities. People coming from across seas, coming into our communities, getting tax breaks and getting loans that we can't get because we have to adhere to some form of debt wealth society and credit issues, whereas someone coming from across seas don't have to deal with those kind of things. These are all things that create the hoods, the ghettos. And so the police officers themselves, they are trained already that we are the perps. They don't, and that's one thing that I've always tried to throw out, that we need to create our own review boards that can make sure that police officers, in order to patrol our neighborhood, must get themselves known to the community on a first-name basis. They must go door to door, and they do it on a slick way because they had these, like out in Chicago, they had a CAPS program. And so what they do is they go and get these elderly, old people from some church in a corner that ain't nobody paying attention to. They don't let the community know when these meetings are taking place. But then they connect with them, and then they go in from these elderly black people who are already scared out of their mind because they done seen Minister Society 12 times on BET, so they think every young black person is out to take their purse from them. And then they go in before them, and they tell them how these people are nothing but crooks, these people are nothing but criminals. I mean, they're still doing it. Mayor Rahm Emanuel just had a press conference last week with St. Sabina Church, and they, doing the Stop the Violence. He's not there to say we need to give programs and jobs to these youngsters. He's there telling these elderly black people, these are criminals. These are no good people. They need to be locked up and thrown away, and they would never let no one go to that community and do that to their children.
And me, can I just address that real quick? Because before we go on, I must say, Rahm Emanuel was a fuckboy, straight up. I never liked him. He was a terrible chief of staff in the White House. He's a terrible mayor. And you talking about lock them up. Well, it could help the youth of Chicago, even though I'm not from there. But this is the idea. If you don't close 60-something schools, that could help too, right? I'm just saying.
Right.
And just to chime in real quick on that, 2 years ago, they created a summer program in which they employed thousands of young black people for these summer jobs in an effort to curb crime in Chicago. Crime dropped more than 20%. They then turn around and take the funding away from the program. And so now they've reduced the people who they can employ in that program down to such numbers that, and then now these people are right back in the streets, and all of a sudden the crimes go up. But just relating that back to the police officers are trained in this manner. So when you see him, he doesn't go to the car and see this as a citizen or as an American citizen or someone he knows. If he went to this car and he knew this guy by a first-name basis, and the person in the car knew the police officer on the first-name basis, and they have a relationship because he's there to serve the community, not just to patrol it like everyone there is just perks, then those type of situations don't happen. But that is not what's going on. These people are trained in a police academy somewhere way out away from the community. They go to their homes are way out of the community. They bank way out of the community. They shop way out of the community. They have no way of identifying with the people in the community. And then they come into the community patrolling.
Right.
So then it's no problem for them to pull a gun out and shoot somebody.
Right. And to your point, too, we had a program in Buffalo. I don't even know it was a program. I think it was this cop that just did it on his own and just wanted to, make a difference. Like, we have a lot of block clubs here in the black area. So this cop would meet up with certain block clubs and just basically get familiar with them, and he would actually walk. And that's another thing, too, that makes it different. They actually walk the beat, like you were saying, get familiar with the community. If you actually know such and such son, and you see these people all the time, you're not so quick to look at them as just animals like they kind of look at us now. So that definitely makes a difference. It's a lot of things we can do, and like you said, we need to come up with these review boards and think tanks to basically solve these problems with this and all the other issues we have as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anybody got anything else to add to this?
Well, I just wanted to mention lastly that, Officer Tensing, he pleaded not guilty to the charges of murder and voluntary manslaughter on this past Thursday. And then also, I know for a fact that his lawyer, his name is Stu Matthews, he's gonna run with. I'm for sure and certain, because everything I've read up until this point, he's trying to push the agenda of Officer Tensing being fearful, that he feared for his life, and that's why he shot and killed Sam DuBose. And then also, I thought this was a little fun fact that the DuBose family actually hired the same lawyer from the George Zimmerman, who represented George Zimmerman, Mark O'Mara. Yeah, I think his name is Mark O'Mara. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, They actually are going with that attorney. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts about that? They actually chose the same attorney that represented George Zimmerman, essentially got him off.
I mean, like, he is a good lawyer. He definitely is a good lawyer. But I think they still could have got a good lawyer and picked somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the wounds and stuff like that. And I think as far as Mark O'Mara is concerned, I think this is probably his little charity he think he's doing, because he knows Zimmerman was guilty. Like, you can kind of tell, like, after Zimmerman got off and Zimmerman started doing all this crazy shit and Zimmerman wasn't paying attention to their advice and stuff, I think they know that they basically got off. They got a murderer off. I think they know that. So I guess this is something he's going to do to try to cleanse his soul or something. But the damage is already done. And like I said, I understand why they would get him, because he is an excellent lawyer. Let's not take that away from him. And, you know, it could be the right move to do. But if I was in that position, I don't think I would have did it. You know what I'm saying?
It's just a bad taste. You just don't want to. Right. It's just not a good look for the community. It's just not a good look.
Right. I'm not going to kill their family over. That's a bad choice of words. But I'm not going to come down too hard on their family for it, just because of what they've gone through. But man, sometimes, like you said, it's not the best optics, man. You still could have got a good lawyer. He's not the only good lawyer in the country, you know.
I mean, and then if you're dealing with a lawyer who might have seen some of his civil rights cases, drop some, you know, and he's probably losing money in that area, and so this would be a great way to get back into that, and then he could start getting in on these police shootings, and make that a part of his resume. I did want to ask though. I browsed past it, and I don't know how true it is, because people just throw out stories, and but I read somewhere that the Klan actually put his bail up.
I wouldn't be surprised, because at $100,000, I'm curious to know who exactly funded that. And honestly, that's really a really imperative thing that we all do. Anytime there's anything, a story or whatever, it's always important to follow the money trail. You know what I mean? So his bond was set at $1 million. So that means that he has to pay $100,000.
Yeah, and
who has that? He's an officer.
My opinion on that is this: to me, it doesn't matter if it was the Klan or not, because this is some people that don't have hoods and not official members of the Klan that is just as racist as any Klansman there ever was. Like those people, not everybody that was in the Klan donated money to Darren Wilson, but hey, he raised about 7 figures. And a lot of people donate to him. They wasn't official Klan members. It's just white supremacy in general, whether you have a hood on.
Now I'm asking, when is the Justice Department going to step in? Some civil liberty group going to step in and put an end to that? Because as of right now, you're setting the precedent that it's big business to kill us. Mm-hmm. You're going through some financial issues. The mortgage is behind. You're not getting overtime on the 4th. Go kill a nigga. And then you can go get you a GoFundMe page, immediately shot up, and then shoots up, and the next thing you know, you get you $1 million, $2 million donation. It's big business to kill us.
You know what we can do? Yeah, we should follow the motto that Ron Goldman parents followed. They sued the shit out of OJ, even though he got off. They filed that civil suit, sued him directly. Granted, granted, there is racism in the justice system. It might not work out every time for us like it did for them, but that's what I would do. If I was Mike Brown family, I would sue the shit out of Darren Wilson. Civil suit, at least just make life a little bit hard on them. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause
exactly.
if you can get that civil suit on them, you'll realize you might get that money, but you ain't gonna be able to keep it.
Yeah, because the people, Eric Garner people just got 5.2 million.
Yeah, about 5.9 for New York City. In New York City,
5.9.
Yeah, in New York City, stayed paying out money for the abuse of the NYPD. They stay doing that. They talking about money problems and all that. Like, it's amazing how much money they got to pay out per year just for the NYPD. But yeah. Okay. You ready for a slightly positive story? Ms. Baba, you want to tell us about what Akon doing in Africa? We reported on the solar energy initiatives before, but you said you got a little update on that now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, as we stated, anytime we mention something and there's further information that we, there's a future plan for something, I should say, is our sole purpose to go ahead and follow up with those stories. So, as promised, I just wanted to bring back Akon. Now, Akon, he started this initiative of what he called Akon Lighting Africa. Started that back in 2014, and his goal was to provide electric power to 600 million Africans. And remember, when we first spoke about this, we were just saying at that point it was just talk. Nothing was initially done or anything like that. But I do have an update on that. He was able to include 14 countries, which is a really big deal. 14 countries, and it includes countries. Well, first and foremost, let me just say, for those people who do not know, that Africa is a continent. So when I'm talking about countries, I'm talking about countries in Africa. But aside from that,
it's a shame you got to say that.
But it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. A lot of people don't know that, so I have to make sure that is very clear. Okay? So in any event, the countries included places such as Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, and a few others. And for now, what he has done, he's definitely stuck to his word, and he's working very hard with his group to make sure that all this comes to fruition. Now, they already have given these 14 countries solar street lights, micro generators, home kits, and charging stations. And he also, a part of his initiative was to go ahead and, provide them with power, but he didn't want to just be another thing where, just give to Africa. He wanted to make them sustainable and be able to be self-sufficient. And I think that's the greatest idea, because there's too many times, and I've said this, I don't even know how many times before, where, different countries or different organizations will give to Africa, but you're kind of making them dependent instead of just teaching them, exactly what they need to do, whatever the case is, so they can be self-sufficient. So that's his main priority. So he also had started a university, and it's called the Solar Academy, which is in place to educate the people, to make them be able to create their own technology. Now, you have to understand that this is a huge initiative, because I think Africa makes up about 15% of the world's population, if I'm not mistaken. And a large majority of them do not have any type of power or electricity. So what that means is that they're not able to, number one, be in any type of interaction with the rest of the world, and it just makes it really rough, to say the least. So so doing this, he's able to provide them with social and political power, and his objective is to go ahead and expand his initial his initial progress, I guess, to 11 more countries by 2020. So, we'll continue to follow up and give you a little bit more feedback. But at the end of the day, I think it's a great initiative, and I'm glad that he's taken, he's using his celebrity to go ahead and do something and give back in a very good and efficient way.
Right. And I don't have too much to say about this. Again, props to Akon because, we always get on people for not caring about the community. He cares about where he's from. So much props to him for that. And I watched a clip of, parts of Africa getting some solar power and getting energy. And they was talking to some of the people, and they was just saying how much of a difference it made in their life just from women, being able to go certain places at night because there's lighting. It basically cuts time. People can make more money. So it improves the economy, not just because you're doing solar, but because businesses can stay open longer. They can save food longer. They can stay open like I said, a lot longer. So, props to Akon for that. The one thing I am concerned about, because of the original article, it said that they are going to have European companies and European help. Anytime you talk about, especially European countries, especially countries like France, helping out in Africa, I'll always get on guard a little bit. I always get a little bit suspicious. But, hopefully, it works out for the best, and I'm rooting for it.
Yeah, have you all talked about, what's this brother's name? Billionaire in Africa, Elenu. I think that's his name. Tony Elenu.
No, we haven't.
No.
You want to drop
no, he's a billionaire in Africa, and he has set initiatives to the side for entrepreneurs, for not only those who are in Africa, but those of us who are over here in America.
Mm-hmm.
I go to say that because I believe that, I don't know, as far as the Akon thing, it's a great thing, but we have to start to be able to develop our economics over here, and I think finding our way to build some infrastructure over in Africa is one way to do so. The same way you have those who come over here and pull resources and then send it back home, it might be a good idea for us to do the same, in reverse, and send some resources out here, or, maybe get the heck up out of here because, again, we're under attack in this country. So that was just something I wanted to throw out that,
yeah, let me
being able to get involved in it. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to ask you a question about something you just said about getting out of here. I feel you on that, but at the same time, let's be under no illusion, too. Africa, even though it's majority black, they suffering from white supremacy just like we are over here.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I ain't, I'm sorry, definitely. No.
Yeah, definitely.
I ain't clueless to that.
Yeah, because, it's in different ways. A lot of these countries are so-called independent, but they're not independent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They basically follow orders from the IMF or the World Bank or
right.
France. You know what I'm saying? So it's,
or they put in a good luck.
Yeah. Or China too now too. Let's not forget about that. So China is buying up a lot of stuff in Africa right now, and they starting to practice a little bit of Asian supremacy over there, or Chinese supremacy as well, in certain spots as well. So it doesn't matter whether it's any group of people, whether it's white people, Asian people, or even our own people. We just need to stop. We need to just be independent so we can stop being exploited, period, whether it's in Africa or here.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I'm just realizing that investing in some things in this area, considering that America is up for sale, roads are being bought, ticket booths are being bought, the parking meters are being bought. Those things are being outsourced over across seas itself. So, it just would be something for us to, to connect with our people throughout diaspora and invest in some of those some of the infrastructure building that's taking place as well, you know. But no, you ain't getting away from white supremacy. You definitely. No, I'm not clueless to that one.
And I want to add to your point too, because I know some people in Guinea, and they open for business. They want to do business with us. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I know in America, a lot of the African and African American or black people from America relationships sometimes are not the best, which is all a part of Willie Lynch stuff and just silly. It is real silly sometimes, but you go to the continent, they are willing to do business with you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we can't be scared to do that. I know a brother right now trying to get something popping in Guinea that is an African American. He got to connect over there and he's trying to do his thing there. So you're right, more of us need to do that. Go ahead.
Right, I've realized that there's some opportunities in Ghana, some other areas, but again, white supremacy. I believe that it's National Security Memorandum 46 presented by I believe the Carter administration, if I'm not mistaken, that made it mandatory to keep us not working with each other. Those of us here, those of us that are in Africa. So they busy at work making sure we don't connect and unite with each other.
Oh yeah,
because they understand it.
They sabotage.
I might be misquoting that memorandum. I'm off the top of my head right now, but I know it's a memorandum, National Security Memorandum 46, I believe it is.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it goes back before that. Even Marcus Garvey, he was trying to get Pan-Africanism popping in the early 20th century, and they sabotaged that completely. And there's been rumors. I don't know how true it is that a lot of the African immigrants that come over here, they are told to stay away from Black Americans sometimes. So I don't know how true that is or not, but we got to get around.
I could speak on that a little bit, and again, I feel like I'm representing everything, but of course I'm half Ghanaian, so shout out to Ghana again.
Shout out.
But you're right, Meek. There were actually a lot of oil was found in Ghana, but the whole continent of Africa is so rich in natural resources, but it's just sad that unfortunately we don't own any of that anymore. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's still and even within our own people, there's still a lot of corruption that is very prevalent, in all countries. You know what I mean? So that's a bigger issue that we would have to get to the root of and figure out a way to go ahead and try to fix that.
There's international cooning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely, but I know that there is. There's also. I'm sorry. I know that there also is a stigma when people do come straight from the continent and then come to America and trying to, fit in and things like that. There's different stereotypes. We have. When you come from the continent, there are some people. I'm not going to say all. I can only speak from my own experiences, but there are times where, sometimes an African native will come here and look at Black Americans in a certain way, and it usually has like a negative connotation to it. But to be honest, a lot of times when they do come, their reception is horrible. Like we don't receive them the same way that they do when we go and visit the homeland and whatever country that we go to visit. You know what I mean? Like we're too often we're so I guess brainwashed in a sense to think that we're above them and they're primitive to our modern ways. So we definitely do treat them. We think of them in a lesser way than we do ourselves, and we treat them in that same manner as well. And that's something that has to be addressed as well. But it's so much that goes into it.
Right. Basically, we need to stop tribalism. Basically, that's basically what you were saying right there, because tribalism has plagued our people for hundreds and hundreds of years, man. Like, it's just crazy. That's one of the reasons why Africa was able to be dominated so much. Tribes facing with each other, not seeing a bigger picture. We're going through that in America right now. So we need to just get our stuff together. We need to come together, Pan-Africanism, and that's what we're doing right now. We discussing solutions. And one thing I do want to say, too, is this. Like, some people on other ethnicities, and a lot of our own people say this, too. You can't just keep complaining. I hear that a lot. Let's not just keep complaining. Let's just move on. No, we got to address the injustice that's going on. That doesn't mean we're not working to build our own communities.
Exactly.
Right. Because I know me and Miss Baba are involved in our community. I think Meek is involved in his community as well. So you can do both. You can build up and at the same time say, that's wrong. Yeah, we're going to pull ourselves up by our bootstrap, but at the same time, we're going to say, don't push me down again. You can do both.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just want to leave that part with that. Y'all have anything else to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that, my wife actually does hair, and about maybe 50% of her clients are actually those who are African natives. Mm-hmm. And, having a conversation with them, who was that guy that got drafted by the New York Knicks? Tall white guy.
Oh, like he got adopted? So he got adopted by the New York Knicks?
Oh, well, yeah. But the same manner in which he said, I learned American culture by watching World Star. This is the story that they're telling us over and over again. We learned about you all through some rap music that came across by watching you on BET or watching you on, VH1. And so that's where they got the perception from us at. And then, us, all we see over here is jungles.
Right.
All we see over here is jungles,
Man, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's true. That does definitely happen, and that's why it's so important for you to do your own research and just travel if you can. Like, even if you don't have the means to travel, read. Like, pick up a book and read, because you know what I mean? Like, there's so many things that are perpetuated through mainstream media, and I think that's really our downfall. We look at mainstream media as a way to form and shape our perspectives of the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
And if they only showing you one thing, then that's what you consider to be truth. You know what I mean? And that's so detrimental, because a lot of times, and that's why a lot of people they're shocked when they actually see photos of like developed countries in Africa, and people who dress well and speak well and are very educated and things like that. They don't usually see that.
Yeah, and
not in the mainstream.
Yeah, and like you were saying, if you travel, you start to see what people think of Black people as a race worldwide, because they don't care if you're African, they don't care if you're from the Caribbean, they don't care if you're from America or North America, period, Like, they got the same opinion of all of us. They do.
Right.
And until we realize that, we're going to be stuck in the same position.
Right.
Yeah, one of the gifts, the little gifts of having the internet is that I've been able to connect with, Black people all over the planet, and we are all going through the same, situations. Police officers are killing us. We have governments that are sucking the resources away from us. We are hateful as hell toward each other. We're miseducated. The damn religion is taking us out.
Oh my goodness.
So many things.
Preach.
Religion is doing a job on all of us.
That's a whole show in itself. We could talk about that for like 3-4 hours right there, but
yeah, we might have to invite you back for that one, Meek, because
no problem.
I've been itching to have that conversation, but we're gonna hold out on that.
And before we go on, it's just funny, because our next topic is just going to address how they think of us and how it seeps into a lot of our subconscious. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all heard about the Hulk Hogan racist rant, right?
Yeah,
I heard it.
What y'all think of that? Meek, what you thought of that?
Again, not shocked. The crazy thing is, you have the WWF. Who was running it back when Hogan started? I can't remember. I know McMahon is like, I haven't watched wrestling in so long. I have not been able to keep a line on it, on who runs it and who does it. But they build these guys up as literally superhero figures to young kids. These guys are huge and they real muscular. Most of them are steroid taking dudes. If the federal government ever decided to bust anybody for steroids, wrestling would be done. But these guys become larger than life. These guys become larger than life to our youngsters. And so I guess we grow up with that, and you forget that these people have the same ignorant mind frame that any other person would have. And so now you have Hulk Hogan, who, strangely enough, what was the thing? He always say, brother. Everybody was his brother, so he came across like he was like this humanitarian type of guy, like he was good with everybody, and he was the American flag all on him. He was America's hero until somebody messed with his daughter, and then that's when white supremacy reared its ugly head. And now you get to see his real feelings, because now you're talking about it. You're like, this little, the sentiment I got from, this little thing we doing, okay, we getting along with each other here, but now, hold on now, you taking it a little too far messing with my daughter. Because now that means I'm going to have some little African little baby running around here. I'm going to have some little black baby running around here, and I don't want to do that. I want to maintain my pure European genes. I believe is he I can't remember if he's German or something like that, but I want to maintain my pure European gene, my pure Caucasian gene. And so now you really get to his real feelings when it started crossing the line with his daughter and everything like that. So now he's, had the same
Hogan defense, though. He said, he could accept that she was dating some 8-foot-tall nigger ball player, basically. So let's give him let's give him a little bit credit there.
Right. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
And Miss Baba, why don't you take it? Why don't you take it next? Because you already know I'm about to go in on this one, because I got a lot of things to say about this.
Yeah, I already know. No, I'm not giving him any slack at all. Okay, because I think too often we get too comfortable and complacent with racism that we feel like, that's just another racist comment that somebody made, so it's okay. No, I don't feel that way at all. Okay, in any situation, it's going to be horrible. And I think now that we're in the technology age, all these things it's not anything new, but it's just being exposed. That's the only difference. You know what I mean? And let me tell you about the whole nasty scandal surrounding Hulk Hogan, because he was actually suing the website Gawker.com because he believes that they were the ones who were responsible for the release of his sex tape. Now, his sex tape was of him having sex with his then best friend's wife.
Wait a minute, Hogan had a sex tape?
Yeah,
yes.
That's what it comes from. The rant was before the sex tape, which makes it even weirder. Like, who goes on a racist rant before you do a sex tape?
Right, but this is exactly what happened. This is why all this stuff got exposed, because as he was suing Gawker, they're trying to body his or kill his character. You know what I mean? So they didn't want to give him a leg to stand on. So they're like, oh, okay, he's coming after us. So then they went ahead and released the recording that had his racist remarks. But that's where it all stemmed from. You know what I mean? And in the recording, you could hear him say, oh, well, I am a racist. And I think he said something along the lines of, like, everyone may be a little bit racist or whatever the case is. And he was upset, highly upset, that his daughter, Brooke, was supposedly messing or fucking with, that was, in his words, fucking with a nigger. And he was like, you know, well, I guess if she wants to go down that route, he would at least prefer it to be a 8-foot-tall basketball player nigger who makes $100 million. And, you know, there's, I mean, I guess every parent will want the best for their children, but that's nothing new. Like, I'm not surprised that he used the N-word. Like, does that surprise me? No. I think the N-word, I think you're really silly if you don't believe that most white people use it in the comforts of their own home. When you're at home, that's your own, so you're really your true self. You know what I mean? The face that you put on for your outside friends is something different. And then him being a celebrity, that even turns it up a notch even more. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm not, you know, I'm not surprised at anything that he was saying in what he thought at the time was, you know, a private conversation. No, not at all. I'm not shocked by it at all.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say. I'm done with that guy.
Now
before you go in, though, I just wanted to mention the fact that for him to make the comment that basically what he's saying is, I would tolerate it if she would be with a nigga that could bring in some status. But that's the makeup of, I don't even want to get into an argument of interracial dating, but this is what you always see in it. You will never see a white woman with a black male who has less than her. And I think that's what the message he was trying to get out, that he was trying to think in the tape, that if you're going to be with a nigga, you don't go and get a regular one. You go get somebody that can benefit your career, help it. Because if you remember, when she was trying to do her singing thing, and, you know, I browsed through the show, you know, the reality show here and there. When she was trying to do the singing thing, he would randomly have black people around in her videos and things like that, because this benefited her image of trying to cross in and be an R&B artist. And so he was trying to relay that message out there. But again, it's no shock. It's no shock. Like you said, sister, to think that they don't get even if they in the closet somewhere, just saying nigger, 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 nigger right after somebody cut them off in traffic or something is just ridiculous. This is the system we live in. This is the environment we live in. They said it. You know? And no, it's no shock. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, let me clear my throat for this one. Yeah, I wish I had a beat. I'd have dropped it right now if I had a beat. Because truthfully, I give a fuck less about Hulk Hogan. The reason why I wanted to do this story wasn't because he said nigger. I mean, big deal, like, you know, a white person said nigger. That happens all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I have a few different points to this, why I wanted to bring it up. It's not just because of gossip or just because he said nigger, excuse me. Now, he was on this radio show. I forget the radio show, but it was a black host, and they was talking about how he always said brother, right? And the black host was like, yeah, you know, have you ever said nigger, you know, or nigga, because, you know, brother is like saying nigger, you know, kind of some stupid shit like that. Excuse my French, too. I know some people might not like it, but, you know, it is what it is. So I'm just going to go in. But, yeah, anyway, because it was a wrestler, for those of you who know Booker T. Booker T is a coon wrestler, and I'm going to get on the whole WWE organization as a whole real soon. Stay tuned. But Booker T is a coon, and one of his promos, he was talking, you know how he do his wrestling promos, they just all talking shit. And at the end of it, he was like, yeah, Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you, nigga. And then he messed up. He knew he messed up or whatever. But that's, like, famous. White people love that. Like, you go to YouTube and type in Hulk Hogan, I'm coming for you, nigga, or Booker T, Hulk Hogan, that's going to come up. And it got so many thumbs up and so likes. Everybody think it's so funny, right? And then Booker T said one time that, yeah, what did Hulk Hogan say about that? Booker T was like, yeah, you know, he thought it was funny. And he was like, yeah, but, you know, I'm one of the good niggas or something like that. And during this interview with the black host, Hogan did say, he actually openly said nigga, like multiple times. He was like, yeah, you know, it got to the point where I go around and I would say, what's up, nigga? And they said some people would make a little bit deal about it. If y'all can say it, why can't I say it? But anyway, I say that to say this: black people, stop saying nigga around your around your white friends. We can have a open debate about the so-called N-word or nigga discussion. Should we be calling ourselves that? That's one debate, okay. But at a minimum, don't call other white people niggas and saying that word around them and giving them permission to say it. It's a bad look. It's a bad look. Inside, they really think it's funny, and it's hilarious to them because that basically means you have no self-respect for yourself if you're letting them say it. I don't care. Like, if they around me, I don't care if they quoting a song. Whatever they doing, you're not quoting that around me, straight up. Because once in a while, I will say nigga once in a while, but I never say it around white people. I never say nigga around white people. I rarely say it around black people. I don't even say the word that often at all. But damn, don't say it around them. Don't give them permission to do that. It's a joke. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, after this tape came out, this rant came out, WWE as an organization said, oh, this does not represent our organization, our company, and they basically Hogan, how dare you? Shouldn't have said that. We are ashamed. Really, WWE? WWE had the most racist, stereotypical characters since it's been on TV. Since it's been on TV. Almost all their black characters are stereotypes. Almost all of them, going back to the 70s and 80s. And in real life, those wrestlers, the black wrestlers, got treated like shit. Straight up, like, if you go and listen and watch some of these interviews with, like, somebody like Teddy Long, who was a manager, and I was sad listening to his interview because he just took it. Like, there's no way in hell I could have took that shit. There's no way in hell. Like, he was talking about how they would call him nigga and how he was just so scared of everybody. And that's one issue right there. Some of the scenes they had in wrestling, and it wasn't just WWE, it was WCW, but just wrestling as a whole. And WWE is popular right now, so I won't keep saying them. But they had characters like Kamala, who was supposed to be from Africa, who couldn't speak. He grunted, and he had tribal war paint and a moon and a star on his belly. Couldn't talk. He was controlled by two white men, and then he was the bad guy, of course. So when he became a good guy, he had a black reverend controlling him, basically. The reverend name, he was called the Reverend Slick. Really?
Oh, wow.
The Reverend Slick. And, like, yo, this is, like, I used to watch wrestling a lot when I was younger. And you know how when you're younger, you don't realize how stuff is racist? Because you're a kid. You don't know. As an adult, it sickens me. Also, I'm going back to Booker T. And he was a part of this group called the Harlem Heat. One time, this is when WCW was still an organization. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, because I know everybody didn't watch wrestling, at the time it was WWF, which is now WWE, and it was WCW and his rival company. But anyway, Booker T and his brother started off in WCW. They had this one gimmick where they was managed by Colonel something, I forgot his name, but he looked like a plantation owner. Seriously, he looked like a plantation owner. That's what he looked like. He wasn't a plantation owner, but that's what he looked like. In one of the matches, I don't think they only did this one time. Booker T and his brother, I think his name was like Stevie Ray or some shit like that. They came to the ring. They was in chains. And, like, it's just crazy. It's crazy amount of wrestling. They had a wrestling character called Papa Shango. And it's funny because in rap songs, you might hear black people quoting it like it's cool. They don't even realize it's racist. And I think the reason why they don't, because they was watching it as kids. And when you think about it as an adult, you still think about it from a kid point of view because you associate that with good memories. You might have watched it with your father or somebody like that, or your cousin or brother. So you associate that with a good memory. You don't even realize how racist it was and how it's affecting you subconsciously. Now, they had another character called Papa Shango, of course. He did voodoo. They had another black character, the Godfather, who was a pimp. You know what I'm saying? He had hoes and all that other shit. And, like, one of his things, he used to say, pimping ain't easy, and all this other stereotypical stuff. And even recently, they had a tag team group called Crime Time. And what they do, they supposedly from Brooklyn, and they stole everything. come across somebody, they steal stuff. They steal a laptop. And there's one scene where they like, and this is one scene where they was like, yeah, we love robbing white people, basically just feeding into the stereotypes. You know,
right?
They had like I know I'm going on, but this is I got to break it down.
No, I didn't know this. I didn't know none of this. I didn't know none of this.
Yeah, like
where he's teaching
right
now because I'm not a wrestler watcher.
Right, I'm just going to point all this out because there's a lot of people that watch wrestling and they might not even thought about this like this. It was a character called Mark Henry, the so-called strongest man in the world, whatever. He's kind of known. They had a scene where he was like messing, and they had scenes where, like, he knows like acting, where he was supposedly having sex with this old white lady. Basically, you know, like it's just like insinuating that we are like as long as it's white, we want them. It's just crazy. It's crazy the amount of racism in the WWE. So that statement saying that's not what our company is about is really disgusting. And like it is what your company is about, and it's more than just the WWE because WWE is a well-known corporation, but there's corporations that do this all the time. They might not be on TV, they might not do like, you know, the coon characters and stuff like that, but it's institutionalized racism and discrimination. And just because they might not outright come out and call you a nigga. And by the way, WWE, there was a storyline where the owner, Vince McMahon, went by Booker T and said, "What's up, my nigga?" I don't know where the storyline was going because I don't watch wrestling, but, you know, this is just what I know. So the point is, institutionalized racism is serious. Like, people in the WWE probably don't even think they're racist. They probably just think it's good, fun characters. Oh, and one more thing. I know I'm ranting, but I'm getting pissed off right now. There was a scene, a very popular scene. There was a very popular scene with the WWE. Remember, y'all heard DX, the Generation X or whatever that group was.
I remember that.
You remember that? Yeah, there was a black group they was a rival with called the Nation of Domination. And they were supposed to be the black militants, I guess, or whatever. There was a scene where they came out, and DX was literally in blackface. Literally. Not figuratively, literally. White men came out in blackface. Look this up. I might even put it on our Facebook page. Just so I'm going to put some of this stuff on our Facebook page so y'all can get a visual of it and see how racist it is and see how shit like this affect our subconscious. You know, so it's offensive when WWE say this don't represent their. That's all your company is about. That's what it's been about since the beginning. So stop it. Say that bullshit to me. You know what I'm saying? Stop talking that bullshit to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm getting upset. Because like I said, it's companies that do this all the time, whether WWE or a less-known company that you up for a position where you know you should get and get passed over. That's why we need to build our own economic base to get our own communities popping. We need to come up with programs so we don't have to deal with this bullshit. And I'm out. You know, I'm dropping the mic right there. I know I took up a lot of time, but I'm sorry I had to get off.
I did not know nothing about. I ain't know nothing about that. I ain't watched wrestling since. Hey, okay, I remember one black character. Remember Coco Beware?
Yeah, man, the jumping coon with the bird.
Right, with the bird.
Yeah, I remember that bullshit.
God.
Yeah, I remember that, man. God. He was supposed to be, he was singing all the time, and he sounded so coonish. Even the Junkyard Dog, rest in peace, I know he's dead, rest in peace, but he sounded like a black exploitation film. The Junkyard Dog. He used to be in the room. He used to be in the ring doing like the little thing with his legs, the butterfly or whatever, and biting the like. Man. I'm done. I can't even go.
And then they get like the John Cena's and the Rocks and all those guys are American heroes, and you know they got John Cena. You know they got him looking like he's an ex-Navy SEAL or an ex. You know, Army guy from the platoon or something, and he's pro-American and all. Yeah.
Wow. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm just gonna come in and just say real quick that anytime that you see different things where there's stereotypes being shown on any type of shows, whether it's wrestling or any type of shows, movies, media, whatever the case is, you have to ask yourself, because those messages usually have some type of agenda, and the agenda is either to expose, perpetuate, or debunk a stereotype. As it pertains to the WWE, I definitely believe that it was trying to perpetuate a stereotype, because you see in a lot of the videos that are even circulating on YouTube and other social media sites, you'll see that there's so many things that it's just disgusting. They'll have the black men, I forgot their names, but the black guys and the do-rags and the fitteds and the white beaters, and then they have the white girl, little things like that. And they even had a Bush impersonator, and they mentioned Kanye West. Remember, he made that comment saying that Bush doesn't like black people, and then the Bush impersonator said, "Oh, that's not true," because he said something about he likes or he loves the hot little black bitch. And this is stuff that was actually said during the whole show of one of their shows, their wrestling shows. And as it pertains to the racist comments that Hulk Hogan said, The Rock actually came out and kind of was in defense of him, saying that he's known Hulk Hogan for years, and he's never known him to be a racist. And he was like, we all talk trash in private. Now, I do believe that is the case. I do believe that a lot of if you say that you don't have a bias, then I believe that you're lying. I think everyone has their own biases and things like that. But there's certain things that I don't care whether you're in front of a camera or you're in the privacy of your own home. There's certain things that I just don't believe that should be said, because as it pertains to blacks in the current state that we live in, it's disgusting to see how your own personal views are perpetuated through everyday life. You know what I mean? So I still don't give him any type of pass. I don't say it's okay because most others think the same way. Just because you're part of the majority does not make you great.
Right. I wish you just didn't say that, because I'm holding myself back, because I feel myself about to go on another rant against Coons right now. I'm feeling myself, my blood is boiling, and I'm trying to hold myself back from going on another rant, because we got a couple more topics before we get out of here. So I'm going to hold back my rant against Coons right now, because I'm just thinking about Coons defending Justin Bieber. I'm thinking about what The Rock said and all that. I can go on again, but I'm going to hold back my rant. So
the thing is, with The Rock, it seemed like he's been making this push in the last, couple of years to show that he has a black father, and whereas before he was kind of, just getting by as a white boy in a sense, or being perceived as a white boy with a tan somewhat, and he's been kind of, on these reality shows telling him, he has a black father and everything like that. So in a sense, we started to try kind of, bring him in. We kind of started to, okay, maybe you might be, you might be, but then, those comments, I don't know if he was defending Hogan. I just wish that, under this system of white supremacy, we fear so much loss. And that becomes the difference between us and other minorities that are, I don't even like using the word minority, other ethnic groups that coexist in this country, where if he would have said that about a Mexican, about a homosexual, everybody in that community would have been open, free, speak out. It would have been I've been knowing him for years. All that goes out the window. All that goes, but us, because we fear the loss, because we fear sponsorships going away from us, management getting on our back, PR people telling us, no, you don't want to do it this way because it can be perceived. We deal with this cloud of judgment and pressure to want to maintain a relevancy, and in order to maintain a relevancy in this society, you can't be too black. And we're the only ones in this country that does not have that freedom to just tell a guy, man, you know what, you say that, fuck you. Excuse my language. You know,
right.
fuck him, fuck his family, fuck his, you know, and he should lose everything after that particular policy, because it got to be some type of, it got to be a price to pay to be that negative and disrespectful toward people who are already subjugated in a society that has through hell since we got here. I'm sorry, I'm not one of them ones that say, you know, we things are the past. No, that is all one package. It's one package. You don't get to separate us now from them men. We're still going through it, and we're dealing with the effects of it. We are victims. I let everybody know that. We are victims. We don't try to act victimized, but we are victims. You're not going to turn around and act as if those things are not things that affect us. So when you have a guy that will come out and say something like that, someone who I'm pretty sure many black people who've paid to go see him, bought his merchandise, you know, things of that nature, you know, when you've had that type of situation, he has to feel some sort of pain for that, some sort of cool backlash. I mean, he's getting a little bit of backlash because WWE don't want to, you know, suffer losing a core of its audience, which is black. You know, The Rock, as someone who is a huge figure, still a huge figure from that market, right. Him coming out strong and saying, hey, this dude was flat out wrong. He says, okay, I was disappointed, but, you know, I've known him a long time. I don't want to go into your history with this guy. I've known him a long time. I didn't know he was racist. Why does everybody think, what is the guy supposed to do? Come up to you and say, look, I don't like you, nigga, I'm racist? That ain't how they work or operate. He's never shown anything racist to me. What is he supposed to do to show you he's racist?
Yo, and like I said, I'm going to change the subject because I'm about to get into another tangent, and we don't got that much time left.
Yeah, let's move on because then it's going to be,
See, like your blood boiling too now, man. Like,
I've known him and my uncle's trained. Who the hell cares who trained him?
Yo, but my last thing about this, The Rock, I think he might be the only black heavyweight champion in WWE history, and he's only half black. He half black, half Samoan. But,
right,
you know. Anyway, I got plenty more to add to that, but I'm not going to do it because I do want to get into a little bit of politics to end off the show with. What do y'all think about the Iran nuclear deal? Because a poll came out this week stating that the majority of the country disapprove of the deal, and I think that's because, you know, like, basically the media coverage has been very poor to this deal. It seems like people want to go to war. So, Ms. Baba, what do you think about this?
Yeah, let me touch on that because my first question is, have you guys ever taken a poll to any of these polls that they supposedly taken?
No, I have not taken one poll. I ain't taken no census.
That's
yet they got the numbers.
Because, right, they get these numbers, and I think it's just so outlandish because I have yet to be approached about taking a poll because I wish somebody would, and I would definitely tell them exactly how I feel. But in any event,
you know what they do with that is they basically do a sample size, and they try to, like, you got to actually look and see what demographic they polled and stuff like that, but they just take a little sample size and they basically put that as like what the country thinking as the whole. You know, they do different
exactly, but that's real detrimental also because if you think about it, I think when you give results of a poll, then you have to be transparent about what the poll actually entails. Did the poll give them ask them if they even knew exactly what the Iran nuclear deal was? Because a lot of people they'll vote because they see they hear water cooler talk or they hear they hear the conversation at the family dinner table on who feels this way and who feels that way. But if you yourself don't understand exactly what the deal is, I think that all is irrelevant. But in my opinion,
this is why it's relevant, though. I just want to address that one point real quick. This is why it's relevant because it doesn't matter if they know about it or not. Because when they vote, when people vote, it doesn't matter if they know the issues or not. They're going to vote just how they feel. So that's why it's important. So actually, if they know what's in it, sometimes these people don't want to know. They already decide before they even hear the issue.
Right, but I mean, like with this deal itself, I think that it's obviously I don't think it's the greatest deal ever, but I do believe that it's definitely better than what we already have in place. Like we have nothing in place, and basically the whole situation is this. There's this thing called the breakout time, and what the breakout time really means is that it's the amount of time that it will take for Iran to enrich enough uranium to use as a nuclear weapon. And that breakout time, as it currently stands, is we have about maybe 2 to 3 months for that time to actually take place. Now, the Iran nuclear deal, what it pretty much is doing is it's not getting rid of Iran having any type of nuclear weapon. What it is doing is slowing down their process, because they have to be able to come to some type of agreement to do something at this point. Everyone's saying that they don't like the deal, but what is the alternative? You're not giving an alternative. And if not, if you say you don't like the deal, which will essentially slow down their progress for the next, it'll buy us time pretty much, and it'll buy us about 10 to 15 more years instead of the 2-3 months that we're currently standing. And then also with the deal, a lot of people don't know, it actually makes them give up more than half of their current centrifuges. There's one centrifuge in particular called the Fordo facility, which has been an international worry for the longest. And it's underground, so it's not like we could go in and shoot it up or use any type of military force because it's underground. You know what I mean? And this has been a source of international worry for the longest. But in this deal, it makes that particular facility open to becoming a research center for Iran and other scientists from around the world to work in together. And then also there's this agency called the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, which would be which pretty much would be like 24/7 surveillance. So they'll be able to keep tabs on exactly what this deal is and exactly what they're doing during this time. And it also decreases the amount of uranium that Iran is able to have as a stockpile. So essentially, yeah, it's not the most ideal of situations, but it's buying us time for the time being.
I have Meek respond in 1 second, but I think the deal, I don't even think it's not the ideal situation. I think it is the ideal situation. I don't think you can ask for much better than this, to be honest, because let me get this out the way. I wish no countries had nuclear weapons. I don't want any new country getting nuclear weapons just because of destruction. I wish the countries that have it now didn't have it. But, you know, it's hard to tell a country they don't have a right to produce nuclear energy. And there's really not even a lot of evidence that Iran even wanted to produce a nuclear bomb. There's really little evidence of that at all. And the thing that people don't realize is if the deal don't go through, if they want to do a nuclear bomb, they can produce one in a few months if they wanted to. But I don't think they really wanted that. You know what I'm saying? I think they just use this for bargaining chips. And this is what people don't understand. If you don't do this, people are hell-bound to go to war. You know what I'm saying? Like, people really want to go to war. And that's because it's a big industry. You got defense contractors make a lot of money off of war. And most of these issues we have in the world could be solved with diplomacy. But that's not for a lot of people in interest. People from overseas as well as people in America, because a lot of people make money off the deaths of a lot of people. Because I was actually in the military. You know what I'm saying? I dealt with veterans coming back, and I've seen some pretty messed up veterans. I've seen people that came back with no limbs and stuff like that. And it's not a joke. People look at it like a video game. It's not a video game. These are real human beings, and people get messed up off of war. So if you can avoid war, definitely do that. You know what I'm saying? Like at some point, you do gotta defend yourself. I'm not a pacifist, but a lot of the conflicts we're in, we don't need to get in it, and a lot of times we make it more messier than it has to be when we get involved. I keep bringing back Libya. Libya is still a mess. We got rid of Gaddafi. It's a mess. You know, so these Republicans want war. They said Iraq is going to be easy. So that's the alternative. Just know if this doesn't work, the next option is war, basically. And I wish I had a little bit more time to explain, because I got a lot of things to say about this. But I would
just be really regurgitating what you just said. I feel sort of the same way, but I do wonder, the connection of disarming Iran as a potential problem in the future for Israel. I just leave that there.
Yeah. All right. I think it was a great show. I'm glad my man Meek here. And Meek might not want us to call us Meek after that garbage-ass Meek Mills diss, but, You might
have to change my name.
Yeah. It'll only be in your best interest, my man.
Right.
Yeah. No doubt. And I still fucks with my man Meek Mills. His album is alright, yo. His album is alright, man. I'm just a little bit disappointed with that.
I don't want no mediocre. If it's just alright, I'm not with it. I'm good off that.
So yeah. Definitely mess with all your supply. That's what we give you. We give you a little bit of mix of, just a little bit of fuckery, not too much. And it's not fuckery in a real ignorant way. We give you fun fuckery. That's enough. You know what I'm saying? And we give you that real. Don't forget, go to our Facebook page, like our Facebook page. And stay tuned. We always post something good on that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, and it's always for Black, ALL. So, want to give y'all final shout-outs or peace out, Miss Baba and Meek?
Yeah, I just have to say peace.
Yeah, peace.
All right, yo. Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.